Hi everybody, this is a video about how to get good with Gunslinger. This is not an introduction to Gunslinger where I tell you about the strengths and weaknesses of the class or anything like that. This is more of a video for the people out there who want to become better at Gunslinger. And I want to make this guide because I'm a super simp for Gunslinger and it's absolutely my favorite class in Lost Ark. I don't mean that like I'm a psycho with multiple Gunslinger alts and I wouldn't buy a Gunslinger body pillow or anything like that. But I do genuinely enjoy playing the class, and I want to show that there's so much beauty when you're playing it as well. Gunslinger is not an easy or alt-friendly class. You do have to put a lot of time into playing Gunslinger and learning it to be able to operate the class to a level that makes your contribution of damage meaningful and commensurate to your DPS peers of other classes. And while sometimes it might not be fair that it feels like other classes don't have to try as hard to do as much damage, or even more damage than you, but just remember that Gunslinger is a class that rewards you for being skilled and faithful. Because of the generous amount of mobility and range allotted by Gunslinger skills, there's so many different things that you can do that make Gunslinger feel rewarding when you hit everything just right. In this guide, the goal is to help make it click in your brain about how to think about the Gunslinger skills. If you're looking to know about tripods, gems, engravings, etc. about Gunslinger, that stuff is easy to find in a number of guide websites and videos across the internet. However, what I think is kind of hard to figure out is, and what I do want to show you is, how do you actually play Gunslinger and how can you get better at it? I'm going to go over how and why to use many of the Gunslinger skills and try to show some gameplay examples of it all in action. Let's get started. Gunslinger is different from the other classes because you can assign 16 skills to your skill bar that you can use at any time, and I'm going to break down how to think about using them with a fairly standard skill set. There are other builds and skills you can invest skill points into, but those alternative builds are best reserved for another video. Starting off, these 4 skills house most of the damage that you do as a Gunslinger, and each of the damage dealt by these skills can do more than any of the other ones depending on how a fight plays out. So that would be Focus Shot, Sharpshooter, Dual Buckshot, and Target Down. There's 2 more skills that do pretty good damage as well. That would be Perfect Shot and Shotgun Rapid Fire. Make it your best effort to put these 6 skills on cooldown, and you're already doing very well with Gunslinger. Next, let's break these skills down by the guns that they belong to. Let's start with the sniper skills. Sniper skills are really strong, especially because the Peacemaker engraving enhances their damage even more when the target is below 50% health. However, all of the sniper skills put you in a vulnerable position due to their long casting animations that render you stationary. So, while ideally you want to use your cooldowns when they are available, the truth is that you should not be allowed to cast a sniper skill if it's not safe for you to do so, because not using your sniper skill is better than starting it and not finishing it, either because you got hit or you have to cancel it so that you don't get hit. You either have to wait for your target to give you an opportunity to safely cast your sniper skills, usually by having the target focus on somebody else, or you can make your own opportunities by positioning yourself in ways that make it safe for you to cast them. One rule that you can impose upon yourself when learning the timings, patterns, and positions of when to best use your sniper skills is to not use a sniper skill unless you have your spacebar maneuver available to use. This way, if you do need to move out of the way during the casting animation of your sniper skill, you can. Eventually, you'll get to a point where you can cancel very few sniper animations because you'll be more sure on more frequently that you're in a good spot to cast them. Let's go over some of the best times to use each of the sniper skills. And some of these are going to be like, no shit Sherlock kind of statements. But for somebody out there, there might be something that you needed to hear for it to really make sense. Starting with Focus Shot. Focus Shot is best used when you're fairly certain the boss won't move, usually because they're locked in an animation or just finished doing one. It's okay for you to hold onto your Focus Shot if you do think that the target is about to move. Target Down and Perfect Shot are best to cast for moving targets because you can change the direction that you're shooting them in. Of the 3 sniper skills, Perfect Shot is technically the safest sniper skill of the 3 because you can just release it at any time if you need to move soon. There's no real benefit for using these skills from afar or up close, but sometimes you can utilize the range to hit targets that other classes can't, or you can position yourself in ways that other classes can't and that can still give you free time to fire away. Next, let's cover the 3 primary shotgun skills: dual buckshot, sharpshooter, and shotgun rapid fire. Shotgun skills have moderate casting animations, but they usually don't feel like the skills that punish you. This means that if the target is in a neutral state and you're still kind of assessing what it's about to do, starting off with the shotgun skill is a good option for you to begin your stream of DPS with. Shotgun skills are pretty straightforward because you just use them close up at the target next to you. Sharpshooter is the exception because you can cancel this skill by switching weapons, thereby freeing you up from the casting animation and allowing you to maneuver if need be. This allows you to reposition on the spot while continuing to have your spacebar as a means of canceling a different skill animation shortly after. You can utilize the canceling an additional layer by swapping to your pistol and immediately casting one of your pistol movement skills, which I'll get more into later. Because of this, the argument can be made that if you have Sharpshooter and another shotgun skill available off cooldown, it's best to leave Sharpshooter as the second skill to cast in the casting order. This is because if your window of opportunity to DPS is small, you can usually squeeze in the first shotgun skill guaranteed, like dual buckshot, and then you can choose to greed your DPS by starting up your Sharpshooter animation and canceling it if need be. Now that I talked about both the sniper and the shotgun skills, lastly, let's go over the important pistol skills, how to categorize them in your head, when and why to use them. Before I get into all of that, if you like this video and you're finding it helpful so far, hit that like and subscribe button so I can feel validated about spamming tons of Guardian raids for no rewards just to be able to show you guys some gameplay. And I'll be making more Gunslinger focused videos in the future if you guys like this kind of content. Alright, let's get into it. You can have up to 8 pistol skills on your skill bar, but really only 6 to 7 of them matter, and this 8th spot is pretty niche. For mobility, there are 4 skills to talk about here. Additionally, for Gunslinger's class synergy, there are 3 skills that apply a crit resistance debuff onto the target, and I'll cover each of these skills individually. Somersault shot. This is one of the most iconic Gunslinger movement skills just because it looks pretty cool, and you can choose to pick up the tripod that makes the casting animation faster if you have extra skill points to do so. I like to use this when I'm moving around on islands alongside the spacebar because it has pretty similar cooldown and you can just spam them over and over. Out of all of the movement skills, Somersault shot is the first priority for you to blow it, so to speak, because it's not really used for anything else other than movement. It doesn't do any damage and it's not a great skill to hold any runes either. Next up is Peacekeeper. Peacekeeper becomes a movement skill when you activate the tripod that adds a dash to the start of the skill. This skill feels really smooth and covers a good amount of distance with a pretty quick animation, given that you only have to tap the first part of the combo for the dash. Because this skill is also a counter skill, try not to blow this cooldown for mobility purposes unless you need to, although the cooldown is fairly short. Dexterous shot is a movement skill with a fast casting speed, a short cooldown, and more expression for maneuverability than Somersault shot and Peacekeeper. This is because it's a combo skill that lets you change the direction you're going mid-combo, allowing you to move in a V or L shape around your target to put yourself in a safe position. Because of its short cooldown, don't be afraid to spam Dexterous shot as your method of moving around the map. You can even do this instead of walking as well. At Dexterous shot level 7, there's a tripod that you can take to cover even more distance with the skill, and you can level this up by tracking it and adding it to your character sheet to go really far every time you cast Dexterous shot. Try this out if you want to have a lot of fun. Quickstep is the 4th movement ability Gunslingers have. You always want to take a tripod in the first row called Life Absorption that grants you a small attack speed buff to help you get through the casting animations of your other skills. In order to receive this buff, you do have to hit a target with the second part of the skill after the dash, so most of the time Quickstep can be thought of as more of an offensive movement skill that you use to go towards or around your target. Because the life absorption buff is pretty short, try to make it a habit to cast Quickstep after using your debuff skills, which we'll get into shortly. As I mentioned before, because you can cancel your shotgun sharpshooter skill by weapon swapping into your pistol, it's not a bad idea to practice this and get a feel for where you want your fingers to be and also your movement skills to be located on your button layout. it should feel really comfortable for you to press X to switch into your pistol and then immediately cast Somersault shot or Dexterous shot or Peacekeeper. Now let's talk about Gunslinger's class synergy. Gunslinger's class synergy is a crit debuff applied onto the target. Your goal with these skills is to maintain a high uptime of this debuff throughout an entire fight by reapplying it as soon as its duration expires. There's 3 skills that can apply this debuff, all 3 of them apply it for different durations. Because you're going to spam these skills with short cooldowns and multiple hits, the debuff skills are all good holders for your Conviction, Judgment, and Bleed runes. First, let's start with Spiral Tracker. Spiral Tracker is a really spammable debuff skill because every time that it's off cooldown, you're able to apply the debuff. It has the shortest duration of 6 seconds, but it also has the farthest range, and the cooldown kind of syncs with Quick Step, so you usually want to use them in tandem together. Dexterous Shot is the second pistol skill that can apply the Gunslinger class synergy through one of its tripods. It has an 8-second duration, which is longer than the cooldown, so Dexterous Shot lets you constantly reapply the crit debuff onto the target, which is really nice. The bad thing about Dexterous Shot is that it forces you to be up close to be able to apply the debuff, which isn't always a bad thing, but sometimes there might be a boss animation or an AoE attack coming up soon that makes it so you have to stand away from the boss for a little bit, and that's when Spiral Tracker might be a little better due to the extra range. The third and last pistol skill that can apply Gunslinger's crit debuff is Equilibrium. Equilibrium has the longest debuff time that enables you to squeeze in all 3 skills of one of your guns within the 12-second duration, so I like this one a lot. Lastly, let's talk about the Peacemaker engraving that enhances all 3 of the Gunslinger weapons. The duration of each Peacemaker buff is 8 seconds. You can usually squeeze in all 3 of your damage skills for each gun within that 8 seconds, unless you had to do a bit of moving in between. In that case, you can always refresh the buff by quickly swapping your gun back and forth. Also, keep in mind that when you're going to cast your Awakening, you should almost always use your Shotgun Peacemaker buff as it increases your crit chance. It's a way better idea to have a higher chance of critting, though to be honest, this is a really nitpick kind of point as Gunslinger's Awakening is not really that strong, and frankly does less damage than your sniper skills. But you definitely want to make sure that it does crit rather than trying to greed for the additional damage from the sniper buff. If you are receiving crit chance from other sources, then you can cast your Awakening with the sniper Peacemaker buff for the increased damage. Alright, so let's finally talk about a rotation of the whole Gunslinger's kit that involves all 3 of the guns. And pretty much the lazy way to do it or think about it is to just put the damage skills on cooldown and use some of the pistol skills to enhance them as well. So what you're going to want to do is start with one of your debuffing skills and Quick Step, followed up by 3 skills of your choice from either the sniper or the shotgun. By then your crit debuff and your life absorption buff have expired, so you can go back to your pistol form, reapply them once again, and then switch to the other weapon that you haven't used yet and use the 3 damage skills there. So that's a really lazy way and really simplified way to think about the Gunslinger rotation skills, how to use them, and when to use them. A full rotation or a proper rotation would involve using your debuff and Quick Step off of their cooldowns so that you're always benefiting from them. In a dynamic setting like a Legion raid or a Guardian raid, you'll always have to adjust on the fly when you have the safety to cast 2 or 3 of the 6 damage skills before having to reposition or use your pistol skills again. Don't forget that before you cast a sniper skill, you need to judge the following 3 criteria. Is the boss going to move? Is my spacebar off cooldown just in case I need to move? And is my debuff applied for the maximum chance of hitting a crit? These are the guidelines that are going to help you rotate your skills in a way that's fluid and also maximizing their efficiency so that you're not wasting any cooldowns. In short, a full rotation of Gunslinger skills is pretty much complete once you use all 6 of the primary damage skills because their cooldowns are so long. From the time that you cast your first damage skill, that's the amount of time that you have to do the other 5. So there's plenty of time to maneuver, apply your crit synergy, and constantly regain life absorption from your Quick Step skill for the extra attack speed. The last point about sniper skills that I would recommend is to always prioritize using them over your shotgun skills when the boss gives you the opportunity to use one with guaranteed safety. This is because the opportunities where you can pause to unload the full animation of your sniper skills with impunity are spread out over the course of a fight. So you want to take the chance to use your sniper skills over your shotgun skills to get them out of the way and not lose uptime or feel like you're losing uptime because you have to wait for a good chance to channel one of your sniper skills. That's all for my guide to Gunslinger and how to get better at Gunslinger. I hope you found the way that I simplified the Gunslinger skill set to be helpful. If you know a Gunslinger that seems to die too much, be sure to send them this video. Or maybe not, that might be kinda toxic. Remember, if you like this video, let me know by leaving a comment below, and I'll continue to make more Gunslinger oriented videos. That's all for now, so later players.
I could be a waifu, baby.